Hi, so today I'm going to talk to you guys about how working at Tokyo Disney as a Disney princess led to me being bullied by a bunch of Disney princesses, losing my teeth, and subsequently restoring my faith in the fact that women can lift each other up and that girlhood is amazing. Which seems like a crazy arc, and what a hook is that? So anyways, I just went to an AA meeting, which is crazy because we ended up talking about terminal uniqueness, which I think I felt a lot of it in my life, and most especially when I was on this contract at Tokyo Disney, which I had taken, by the way, to get away from a horrible breakup, a crazy essay situation on a cruise ship, and all of the thoughts involved in processing these things. And it's crazy how that processing will chase you across the fucking world, not to mention my mommy issues that have been with me my entire life. So I took this contract in Japan as a Disney princess dancing in a show. It was a rather well-known show at the time, and 22 of us got hired out of hundreds of people around the world. There's 22 of us, which in and of itself should have been incredibly validating for me, right? Well, when I got there, immediately I was like, I'm not the same as these people. Hilarious. Because we're literally all hired to look exactly the same. Crazy thought. I wasn't pretty enough. My teeth weren't good enough. That'll be funny later. There was just a lot going on there. So I took it upon myself to internalize all of this, which also led to me sort of ostracizing myself unintentionally, and that mirror just showing up so hard with all the projections that were coming from me. And it manifested by me drunkenly sitting down one night, this becomes a theme, with this girl, we'll call her Maeve, who I had known since the beginning of the contract had rather similar mental issues when it came to mother wounds, self-acceptance, like a lot of these things. They just presented very differently, and I was like, oh, I'm better than her because I'm like nice. Anyways, I was sitting down with Maeve one night. We got drunk, and I was like, Maeve, seems like you don't like me and I don't like you, so let's just deal with that. That was the nail in the fucking coffin of that situation. Maeve immediately started trying to find ways to not like me more, and ostracize me from these women that I already felt kind of like not a part of. And she was kind of one of those people who like her insecurity presented in making everyone her friends, and then if you weren't her friend, you were her enemy. Or at least that's how it seemed to me at the time. And that was crazy pants because it was fine for a while, and then I was trying to help someone who was very obviously going through an issue while we were there, and I'm not going to speak on that because that's their story, not mine. But immediately that led to Maeve doing the mother thing and being like, I can fix this problem better. You can't fix this problem. And I got very defensive, and I was like, well, I think that I should fix this problem. It was this other person's problem. Support would have been great, but anyways, that is also beside the point. So this leads to like even more ostracizing. And at this point in my life, I was 28 years old. If I had been bullied, I hadn't noticed. I'm neurodivergent enough that I was so stuck inside my own head, feeling terminally unique and being like, my problems are bigger than everyone else's, that I didn't notice when other people were projecting upon me until like I had like gone on this journey across the world and had like, I also had started being like, I'm going to get all my mental health straight. I'm going to journal every day and I'm going to be oh so superior to everyone. So it led to more ostracizing, and the first time I had ever experienced bullying from women in my life, and it was pretty crazy. This led me to do some pretty fucking extreme things. Like I went on this vacation, and I first planned this vacation, and I first planned this thing where I signed up for a retreat that was supposed to like help you grow your presence online, and it was like yoga and in nature and in Indonesia, and just so nice and wonderful, with all of these crazy artistic people, and I was like, I need that structure in my life. I didn't even make it. I got halfway there. I met a boy on a plane who also spent his life escaping. He was like one of those trust fund finance kids who was like, I just live in Indonesia and surf most of the time. And And with only a little bit of prodding, I stayed and I surfed and partied in Indonesia for 2 weeks, an island away from where I was supposed to be, instead of doing anything to better myself, which was great. I also started drinking again. For a vast majority of this time, I had not been drinking, trying to be the superior human being. And so I started drinking again. This led to this boy being like, I've never snowboarded before in Japan, and I want to go to Japan and snowboard. And I was like, fine, come visit me, whatever. Cool. And at this point, when I got back, I was like too tan to perform, which is a crazy thing. Well, almost too tan to perform. We were getting close, and everybody judged me for that too. And judged me for taking time off and like all of these things. And to be quite honest, I was like very much mistaking boundaries for excuses to do whatever the fuck I wanted. I'll be the first to admit that. So anyways, I'm there. I'm having a horrible time. For like 2 months, this boy comes to visit me and go snowboarding, right? We go on this group trip. It was a group trip full of a lot of U.S. military people, because it was like an English-speaking trip. So like instantly made friends with them, convinced myself that I couldn't snowboard because I was going to hurt myself, and spent most of that time drinking and like making friends and being like this social coordinator for the group while drunk, which I'm currently actually writing a story about, and it's making me laugh because seeing this from like my drunk perspective versus what everybody else must have seen on the outside is absolutely hysterically funny for me. And rather eye-opening. So anyways, I get really drunk, and we're supposed to go to this live show that night, and it is suggested to me that I take a nap, that I eat dinner, and I'm not having it, and all this stuff, and it all ends in me getting an argument with this boy that's come to snowboard with me, and me walking outside and like getting an argument with him with my hands in my pockets. I turned to go back into the bar, and by this point, there was like a bunch of people watching because it had been quite a scene coming outside trying to talk to this boy. And so everybody watches me turn around. I don't know if I was walking to the bar or the hotel or what, but my hands are stuffed in my pockets, and it's like negative degrees outside because we're in the middle of nowhere in Japan snowboarding. And I walk with a purpose, and I walk up a little hill, and it's really icy, and my feet slip out from under me and right on my face. And all of my teeth, all of them gone. Just gone. And I look at this boy, I go, my teeth are gone. And he laughs. And he's like, you're not being serious. And I was like, no, my teeth are fucking gone. And then, because all these people are watching, they're like, what do we do? What do we do? And of course, I go into, like, drunk, crazy mode. Like the senses come back on for a second. And I'm like, somebody find my teeth. Somebody make sure I don't pass out. Somebody this. And then all I remember is passing out in the ambulance and waking up in the hospital. Funniest part of this whole story is I give my mom a call at 3 o'clock in the morning Japan time, which is like a normal time in the United States. And I was like, I lost all my teeth. And my mom starts crying. And I was like, Mother, and this just touches on these mother issues again. Why are you crying? And she said, we paid so much money for your braces. Okay. Anyways, it was really funny, and this is what I looked like. And if you're from the 90s, this is what I looked like. Hopefully that makes people giggle a little bit. And the craziest thing about this is I just ostracized myself more because I went back and I had to take a couple weeks off of work, clearly, to get like my first surgeries and stuff, and very proud of myself for finishing this contract with the flipper, but like still it did not help with everything that was going on. And while I was going through this entire process and having a complete, like, by the way, this was during my Saturn return. Are we surprised? Complete demolishing of like everything that had been holding me up, because I had been trying to go on this journey the whole time I'd been here, and I was like, well, fuck that, and not realizing this was part of the journey. Also, everybody hated me. There's, again, 1 or 2 people who were great, but like, it just felt like everybody hated me. So I finished this contract. I went back to the other side of the world. I went and I hid in Alaska for 7 years. And during those 7 years, slowly but surely, through several more ridiculous relationships with men, I started to realize that that was the foundation of where I found the importance of my community with women, because looking at that community that seemed broken, but also all of those women, even if it was not in a way that was nice to me, did support each other through a lot of things there. And I think it's just crazy that experience of me being treated badly, but also projecting so much that I sort of brought it upon myself, led to me realizing how important girlhood is, and how important it is that women stand up for each other and support each other. And I realize now that knocking my teeth out was another catalyst to keep me in a place long enough to start figuring these things out. I now just recently moved back to New York City after being in Alaska on a tiny island for 7 years, and some of the relationships I've made in that time are so very important to me and so wonderful. And I think there's something more here, but this was just a thought I felt like I needed to get out. Like I needed to get this story out into the universe. And I feel like there will be a more detailed version, or more details, I guess, coming later. But this is like, I don't know, it's important to me. And I'm writing a book. So there you go. Okay.